It's safe to say Predator is a little broken right now, and many pros are taking advantage. There's also a really unique Renekton build leading to a ton of success over in Korea. Majority of players are sleeping on these setups though, so we're here to break them down along with many others that are hidden gems in 11.22. If being one step ahead of everyone else sounds good to you, then let's jump right in. But before we get into it, be sure to check out SkillCapped if you want to truly get better at League of Legends. We're the only service that offers a money-back guarantee if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using our service. We do this because our service really does work, and if it doesn't work for you, you shouldn't pay. Learn more at the end of this video or click the link in the description below. Kicking it off with the Renekton setup is a bruiser tank mix as you rush a Blade of the Ruined King into a Frostfire Gauntlet second. Blade has always been a viable option on Renekton due to the synergy it has with his W. Renekton W procs on hit effects at 100% effectiveness, and therefore the Blade passive complements it quite well. Major upside to this item combo is the immense sticking power it provides. The speed boost from Blade along with the slow from Frostfire allow you to stay on top of the opponent after dashing in with E. Even though Gore Drinker saw a few minor buffs in 11.22, it's still in a weaker state than it was a few patches back. This is another reason to why players have been experimenting with other builds. Third item is Asterix Gauge, which offers even more survivability. Overall, the mix of consistent DPS from Blade combined with the durability from Frostfire and Asterix are leading to amazing results. Another very important note to point out is that you need to be prioritizing PTA over Conqueror. Empowered W with PTA proc and Blade passive deals disgusting damage, and ever since Conqueror was nerfed, Press the Attack has become the more optimal pickup. Stats don't lie either, as PTA users are winning a whopping 5% more than Conqueror. This is definitely a big reason to why Renekton's overall win rate is quite low, as over 45% of players still run Conqueror. All things considered, if you abuse this setup, Renekton is back in a very solid spot for solo queue for the first time in months. One top laner players are heavily sleeping on is Kled. Indirect changes over the past few patches have led to Kled's rise in power. We've seen Tom and Camille rise to new heights, and although Kled isn't picked nearly as often, he really should be. Conqueror nerf combined with the Gore Drinker changes have weakened many highly contested bruiser picks like Irelia, Riven, Aatrox, and Fiora. Although Kled can run a Gore and Conqueror setup, he's much better suited with Grasp and Titanic Hydra, which is leading to godlike results. It's a very similar style to what we looked at for Renekton, as you run an offensive rush item in Titanic and then transition into tank with a Sunfire Aegis second. Since Kled lacks reliable wave clear in his kit, the Titanic rush helps to perma-shove waves. Kled is extremely lethal when he's able to quickly shove out side lanes and then threaten for flank plays with ult. At 2 items, you can one-shot waves and constantly be on the lookout for pick plays. Grasp works exceptionally well as the keystone, followed by Demolish, Second Wind, and Unflinching. Triumph and Alacrity are slotted in for secondaries. The Predator phenomenon continues in 11.22 as we're seeing a mass amount of junglers abuse the rune to amazing success. Talon is next in line as many pros are taking full advantage of the setup after recent Conqueror nerfs. Predator was buffed and Conk was nerfed. It's as simple as that really, and has led to Talon jungle winning a lot more with Predator. The rune fits Talon's playstyle perfectly as he wants to be extremely active throughout the early game. Another key aspect to note is you'll run the recently buffed Ingenious Hunter. Ingenious is such high value with this strategy as it not only reduces the cooldown of Predator, but the Youmuu's active, which is your rush item. Futures Market is another interesting choice pros are rolling with to hit that Ghost Blade spike even faster. Predator popped with Ghost Blade active provides Talon with unheard of movement speed and catch potential. If you like being able to take matters into your own hands and truly solo carry, then this setup is for you. Complete build is a Ghost Blade rush into Eclipse second and Edge of Night third. Another assassin jungler who can take full advantage of the Predator setup is Qiyana. Just like Talon, you're going to run Ingenious Hunter combined with Futures Market and secondaries. It's all about reaching the Ghost Blade spike as fast as possible so you can steamroll your way around the map. Once you have your core items completed, one-shot potential is amazing with Qiyana. Predator and Ghost Blade actives allow you to easily catch enemies out of position time and time again. By finding these picks, you can transition into free objectives and run away with the game very fast. Build is identical to that of Talon's with a Ghost Blade rush into Eclipse second and Edge of Night third. If you're trying to decide whether you'd prefer Talon or Qiyana, there's a few things to consider. For maximum early game skirmish and snowball power, roll with Talon. For stronger teamfight and raw one-shot potential, Qiyana does the trick. For our question of the day, is there anything else flying under the radar that you guys think was worth a feature in this video? Our analysts do extensive research to try and catch new trends before they take off, but sometimes we can miss a few. Let us know if there's anything you think is a hidden gem for 11.22 in the comments below. Our first mid lane feature is a powerful counter pick against the most played mids in Yasuo and Yone. Teemo Mid is the pick and is a great situational option after his recent buffs. Emphasis on situational, as Teemo is a shorter range champ, so against the long range mage like Lux, it's more difficult to function. Into Yasuo and Yone though, it's a walk in the park. Since both are melee and rely heavily on Q and autos for the brunt of their damage, Teemo Blind shuts them down super hard. With the cooldown and duration of Blind buffed, it's so difficult for those champions to function. You harass with autos whenever they go for last hits, and when they try to jump in, Blind and kite away. Play aggressive around your Blind cooldown and only use it when engaged on for most success. Your core build is a Nashor's Tooth Rush into Riftmaker 2nd and Zhonya's 3rd. Grab PTA for the Keystone with Triumph, Alacrity, and Last Stand. Cheap Shot and Ravenous Hunter are the best secondaries. Caps has been up to some new tricks in solo queue, playing a very aggro style of Vex. Predator is what Caps has been running for the Keystone rune to amplify roam and pick power. We all know how influential Vex can be when she catches the enemy out with ultimate and dashes in for the one-shot. By running Predator, you can find these angles more often to accelerate an early lead and snowball out of control. Although you see most Vex players run with Ludens, and Everfrost is what works best with this setup. Reason being is you grab Ingenious Hunter to lower the cooldown of both Predator and Everfrost actives. For secondary runes, Inspiration with Time Warp provides even more movement speed. Zhonya's 2nd and Horizon Focus 3rd will round out your core build. Ingenious is even more valuable with Zhonya's as it lowers the stasis cooldown. Moving on to a few ADC setups, our first one is Ingenious Hunter Ezreal. Full credit goes to Vagar V2 for this one, as he made a Twitter post a few days ago explaining the tech. Ingenious Hunter will lower the cooldown of Sheen and also works with tier stacking. Sheen is insane value on Ezreal due to his Q being able to proc it and the champ being a spellcasting ADC, so the lower the cooldown, the more DPS potential. You'll grab tier as your starting item, transition into Sheen 2nd, and then complete Manamune. If you're constantly stacking tier, you should have Mirror Mana completed at 12 minutes to come online for a massive early game spike. The stats back up the setup even further, as Domination Secondary is winning 2% more than Sorcery or Inspiration. For the full rune page, grab Conqueror followed by Presence of Mind, Bloodline, and Cutdown. Secondaries are Ingenious Hunter and Taste of Blood. One more ADC you need to be spamming, the buffed Ingenious Hunter on is Caitlyn. Kate loves a Gale Force rush, and the active is so powerful for many situations. If you're snowballing early on, a lower cooldown on Gale Force active will allow you to push that advantage very quickly. Against heavy dive or assassins, Caitlyn E combined with Gale Force active provides massive outplay potential and self-peel. Just having access to the active more often allows you to posture aggressively. If Gale Force active is down, you have to play more respectful, so Ingenious opens up so many more windows of opportunity. Complete rune page is Fleet Footwork, followed by Presence of Mind, Bloodline, and Coup de Grace. Secondaries are Taste of Blood and Ingenious Hunter. As for the build, rush a Gale Force into Stormrazor 2nd and Rapid Fire Cannon 3rd. We all know Leona is one of the best hard engaged supports. Oftentimes though, finding that catch and diving the backline will put you ahead of your team while they follow up. You'll do your best to soak as much damage as possible, but end up sacrificing your life for the enemy carries. Now, what if there was an item that could allow you to stall and give your teammates the time to capitalize on your pick? This is where Zhonya's fits in. Many pro players have been using Zhonya's as a second item on their Leona. The stasis from active gives Leona that extra layer of durability that allows for crazy dive plays. When ahead, all you want to do with Leona is control vision and force engages when the enemy face checks, so Zhonya's is the perfect snowball item. The core build looks like a Locket Rush into Zhonya's 2nd and Zeke's 3rd. For runes, run Aftershock with Font of Life, Bone Plating, and Overgrowth. Optimal secondaries are Biscuits and Cosmic Insight. And our final hidden gem for 11.22 is a setup for Morgana that revolves around the power of Ingenious Hunter. Let's face it, the rune is super nuts right now, but so many players have yet to catch on. What makes Ingenious so broken on Morgana is the fact her two core items have actives. You'll rush Zhonya's Hourglass and transition into Shirelia's 2nd. This build gives you so much playmaking potential compared to the standard Leandri setup. Shirelia's active allows for Morgana to rush in and look for a multi-man ult play. It's so much easier to execute a chain CC combo with Morg if your ultimate stun procs first and then you follow with Bind. Shirelia's active makes this possible. Now, for some players, having to manage multiple actives can be a little tricky, but for full value from the Ingenious rune, you can slot in Redemption 3rd. This build may take a bit of time to get used to, but it's extremely potent if you can execute properly. The full rune page is Comet with Mana Flow, Transcendence, and Scorch. Cheap Shot and Ingenious Hunter are for secondaries. Alright guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about SkillCapped. So, we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee, and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week with over 1,600 guides curated into over 100 courses no one can compare. We've also sent challenger players into ELO Hell 714 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $4.99 a month if you are serious about improving. So, those are 10 new OP off-meta champs or builds that you guys should be abusing before everyone else catches on. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.